Roland Willett's Home and Stories, heading in to the cosmos of a farm.
Home and Stories. Here we are at my good buddy Bill Nelson's farm in southern Minnesota. Bill, if you hear it back, you'll hear it when we start talking, you hear turkeys. And Bill's back here, he was just mowing. I called him up to come and talk to me. Come on up, Bill. Let me get us started. Oh, it's a Craftsman. Should have got John Deere. Hi, buddy. Hey, let's turn that sucker off. Now we can talk. And all we have is the road and back, and our guard turkeys, and everything else you have on a farm in the background noise.
That's right.
But Bill and I are old buddies, and he and I used to box together.
We used to punch each other.
Yes.
Big time.
Big time.
And I never forget you had that overhead right, and I fell for it every time. Practically knocked me cold. We were tough in those days.
Yes, yes.
Well,
Those were the good old days.
We stood up for each other, and I'll never forget my memory when I had a boxing experience where in the first round I broke my thumb right here. And I went through the rest of the fight. You knew it, it was obvious, but I just wanted to get through. And when we went down to the showers, you and my opponent and I were going down together, and you shouted out to him, "Bill will get you when his thumb heals."
Yeah.
And I thought that was the biggest affirmation I had.
Oh, well, I knew you would, too.
Yeah. I never did, though.
Well, you gave it all.
Yeah.
We always gave it all.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Bill, I'm going to turn the speaker over because you got a phenomenal story
Yes.
about being a farmer and a
Yep.
businessman.
Okay. Well, I want you to take a close look at me because I am a farmer, but you can see the way I'm dressed. I would be more like a gentleman farmer. But honest to goodness, I was one of those back to the landers in 1970 when I and my wife moved 30 miles south of Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities, and at that time it was really rugged because we had a 7-party line, and I had to haul fuel to keep the house warm, and I didn't have one of these things, you know, to mow the lawn. I had to use an old push mower, so it was tough in the beginning. But I think what was more important, though, and put a little positive spin on this, is what we learned. And the things I'm going to share with you right now are things that you will not find in any book. You will not find anybody else. This is exclusive. So I want to tell you how to survive on a farm by learning what we had to learn back in 1970. So we started out pretty slow and raised a few calves, finished them off. We'd call somebody to haul them to market. And in the meantime, I would watch and I would learn because this wasn't in the book. And so the person we called, you would call a drover, who would bring in a trailer, and I watched and listened, and he would go like, "All right, come on." Other kinds of things. And it was pretty simple. The cattle would follow his lead and march right into the trailer. So I learned that. All right, let's go, come on, and so forth. Wasn't a lot of persuasion. So about a year later, I started raising some hogs. And the hogs were a little bit different because they're not herd animals. And so I tried the same script with the hogs, and I said, all right, come on, let's go, get on the trailer. And those hogs would go into the chute and stop. And you could hear them grunt. They grunt, 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 and they would say, uh-uh. And I said, okay, we'll teach you a lesson here. So I got a stick, and I would poke them and swat them and so forth, and they would squeal, but they would not move. And so finally, after about 2 hours, and I'm not exaggerating because I was determined, they would go down. At 220 pounds, you don't pick up a 220-pound hog. So I had to walk away. Now, I had my wife, who was really, truly my better half, because her approach was different. And she would talk to those hogs and say, come on, we're going to go for a little ride, you're going to enjoy it, and so forth. And those hogs would listen to her, and lo and behold, they start moving into the trailer like they should. So that's one thing I learned. You can load cattle one way, but hogs have a mind of their own. And that was my wife, Diane. Now, when you're out on the farm, you're pulling big machinery. And when you're done using it, you put it away into a stall in a large building. Now, the machinery was so tall that if you're sitting in the tractor, you can't see behind you. So Diane, my wife, I would ask her to post and tell me if I'm going straight or not straight. And she brought her traits from the cities. And so she, first of all, you gotta remember now, there's a big diesel tractor running, and she's way back, and she said, she would say something like, well, I think you better go more right. I'd have to say, huh? And she'd repeat it, and I never got what she was trying to say. So if I kept going, she would give me a gesture like this. And I would get off the tractor and I'd tell her, that's not helpful. Don't tell me I'm just about to hit something. So I taught her one word, 2 letters, ho! And using that, we were able to surmount the challenge of putting a large machine away. Now, this is 2012. I went to buy a newer machine, and it was a big round baler. Now, I, for many years, have been rolling those big round bales in the alfalfa fields, and I thought I'd upgrade. And so I struck a deal with the local machinery dealer, and toward the end, we got our deal written up, and they said, do you want to take the computer with you now, or should we deliver it? I said, say what? Computer. You know, I never knew that nowadays you use computers with your farm machinery out in the field. And so I learned that, and I learned that, you know, the traditional farmer is always looking like this, you know, at what the machine is doing. And with the computer now, all I have to do is look at my screen, and it tells me. And it tells me with the ding-dings if I'm rolling it this way or that way too much. And it's also telling me that it's going to stop in a few seconds and tie the bale and eject it. And so, and then once in a while, it gets impatient and it says, turn left, you dummy. Now, you know, computers, you know, can be a little obnoxious, but after all, they're only machines. So I ignore that kind of rhetoric coming from the computer. So other than that, you know, life on the farm is what you make it. In my instance, I don't have to rely on my entire income for the farm. I'm really in retirement age, so I can almost do what I want seasonally. And so that's my story about the farm. You will not find any of these in any of your farm books. I'm Bill Nelson. Thanks for listening.
Old man stories returning home. Harvest is in.